Hey, everybody. It's the Golf Unfiltered podcast. What do you know? We got a full house tonight. First and foremost, I'm going to go around the room, round robin here. I'm Adam. Nikki, you've got a special guest here. Who do you have next to you?
Yeah. We finally decided to bring Jonathan back. The views were great on his last two videos, so we thought,
Listen,
why not bring him back?
Jonathan brings the views. Jonathan, how are you, my friend?
I'm great. I try. I'm doing my best, doing my part.
We'll touch base with Jonathan here in a little bit. We're going to talk all about the Olympics. Trevor, it's good to see you. It's football season, I know, basically in our minds and hearts, especially on the Chicago South Side. My goodness. Nice Dallas Cowboy shirt there, Trev.
Yeah, thanks. I wasn't thinking about it, but you're right. Football is in the air. And Hard Knocks for the Bears, right? They'll be on
in
Hard
more
Knocks
ways
this
than
year?
one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I didn't want to say that. But...
I will.
How's everybody doing?
Good. Dan Hauser is here as well, sporting the Scottie Slam shirt. Well done. You're a company man.
I need to get the little medal now. I'll have to figure out for the next time how I can add a little gold medal now to the other four.
Excellent. Well, I just want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at True Linkswear. They're the title sponsor of Golf Unfiltered, by the way. You can go out to truelinkswear.com and use code Unfiltered15, and you could save 15%. They've got a bunch of new stuff out there. Dan, you were telling me about the Hat Chef and all the new designs they've got.
Yeah, so the one that particularly caught my eye is the and the nice logos that we have here. They have a new one that is a tipped over bucket, like a range bucket with the balls spilling out of it. So gonna definitely need to snag me one of those and make a cool looking one. They have a pretty cool, it's black trucker hat, and the front is like a tannish brown color with that new logo. So
awesome.
Well, they also just came out. The Florida Man shoes have still not come out yet, but
it's coming.
I'm keep checking.
It's coming. I'll let you know. You're the first to know, Dan. But they did just come out with the new OG Kush shoes, which they were kind enough to send over a pair for me to try out. I think these might be the best shoes they've ever come out with. They actually have a little bit more cushion, hence the name OG Kush. Still zero drop in the shoes, but go out to truelinkswear.com right now. Use that code Unfiltered15 and get it for a little bit cheaper than your friends might. All right, so we got a lot to talk about today. We want to talk about, of course, Scottie Scheffler's incredible gold medal victory at the Paris Olympics. Le Golf National. I love saying that name of the course. Final round. Oh, there's Nikki. She's got it. She's got her USA.
I brought it.
Well done. That makes his triumphant return. Well, love it. We'll start with you, Nikki. 62. What does it say?
It got a giant eagle on it.
It's an eagle.
My gosh, look at that.
Oh, it's a starter jacket too. I didn't know that.
That's America.
Yes.
Personified right there.
Final round 62 for Scottie, Nikki. I know we were all on the edges of our seats watching. I know you and Jonathan were probably watching.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, could anybody, he wasn't even really close there at the start of the day. Everyone was thinking it was going to be Xander, and then never count Scottie out. I mean, he's always in it. He's always in it.
He was 4 or 5 back to start the back 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, yeah,
I think they said that's his best back 9 that he has played in 2024, which is wild, but not
very wild.
Unexpected.
Comes in with a 29 to win the gold medal. I mean, you can't draw it up any better than that. Dan, obviously there were a lot of big names on this leaderboard. Did this feel like a major to you? Did we lose Dan? I think we lost.
Something happened. It's like I was moving and everyone was frozen, and then I dropped. Anyway, all right.
Dan, did it feel like a major to you?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Scottie did that, I think solidifies it right there. It's also ironic too, because I feel like we were just sitting here, 2 weeks ago, and I was saying after the final round of the Open, where did Schauffele come from? Basically, nobody was really talking about him heading into that final round, and then he wins, and it was the same thing with Scottie. Where, like Nikki said, where did he come from? I mean, it's Scottie, so you always have to keep an eye on him. But it really again felt like where did he come from moment. I think too that like everyone was so focused on the fact that Rom was just falling apart and throwing up all over himself that nobody then was paying attention to who was coming up behind him, which in this case was Scottie too. So I think that it was almost like, oh, wait a minute, while this guy was throwing up all over himself, everyone else was coming up to him, you know. And so yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was one of those moments where it was like, oh wait, Scottie's still playing and he's now going to win this, because of course he is.
Of course he is. He's having a hell of a year. We wrote about it over at golfunfiltered.com too. We'll get to that here in a second. But Trevor, your impressions of just the final few holes of the Olympic competition.
Yeah, it was sick. And I had kind of the same feeling about Olympic golf as I do for the Live Tour. It's like, what does it mean in the grand scheme of things? Because it's so new and it doesn't have the history of, you know, the Masters or the Open Championship or whatever. But when you see Scottie breaking down in tears on the medal stand with the gold medal around his neck, you see what it means and how important it was, and just that sense of pride that I would imagine you get from winning a gold medal. It's awesome to see. Someone texted me as Rom was making the turn, this thing is over, you know, and just like everyone's been saying, you can't count Scottie out. He's unbelievable. I feel like I wanted to ask you guys, like, I feel like he's just underappreciated still, though, the things that he's doing. And I don't know if that's because, you know, maybe he's not the most exciting personality in the game, but like what he's doing is crazy to think about. And you saw it when he broke down tears. It was just a very cool scene. I'm happy that, you know, like for the first, you know, in Rio and in Tokyo, like, okay, you know, Olympic golf isn't track and field events. It isn't the swimming events, but it's definitely building. And as it continues in the Olympics, I mean, it's only going to get bigger and bigger, I would imagine. Those guys want to play in the Olympics. They want to play for a gold medal. And that was obvious yesterday.
And can we talk about how it was the same site of the 2018 Ryder Cup where we got mollywopped by Molly Wood, and it was the same. It came down to Fleetwood again playing so well at that same location, and yet it felt a little, as much as I like Fleetwood, but like, I don't know, just returning to the scene of the crime a little bit, like felt a little bit like revenge, you know, for the US to be able to finally, you know, get one back. I know it's not a Ryder Cup and it's not like we got that trophy back, but it just kind of felt like a little, I don't know, it felt a little good to be on top of the podium, you know, at that course after what happened there.
And kind of sticking it to Rory a little bit after what he said earlier in the week about how the Americans were the ones in the rough all the time.
Speaking of people who, where did they come from? On Sunday, like out of nowhere, he's just in the running. Like, where did he come from?
Until he wasn't.
Yeah. Until he went in the water.
Adding to what Trevor said too, I think you think about, okay, so that first one, Rio, was the Zika Olympics. So nobody wanted to go over because of Zika. Remember, that was that whole thing. Also, nobody knew what Olympic golf was. It was the first one. And then the second one was the COVID one. So everyone was it was antiseptic, like everything from that Olympic Games was. But also, same thing, Tokyo, like whatever. This one, first off, there was nothing holding it back. It was at a golf course that not only everybody knew, but these guys had just played on and loved playing in that Ryder Cup. So the buy-in was there from the course perspective. We were two in, so we saw the reactions when Xander won his or when Justin Rose won his, and how those guys reacted to it. And so these guys are now, like Trevor mentioned, these guys are buying in 4 years now. We're going to go do this again at Riv. You know, those guys are going to buy in because of once again, the golf course itself is going to sell these guys to go play, even if they were not already sold on it. So yeah, I think that we're at a point now where golf is absolutely, from the players' side of things, a part of the Olympics. They have bought into it. Trevor mentioned too, Scottie crying. Also, one shout out to Scottie too for hitting that one final shot on the range, even after he had already locked up gold. He had to get that one final range ball in before he finally acknowledged that he had won it. But yeah, I think the buy-in's there now, and I think this one was the turning point because those guys love that course and they wanted to play it again, which I can't blame them.
Yeah, and speaking of the course, it yielded some great scoring throughout the week. 7 golfers finished each round in the 60s. 7 of them. It was wild to just think, well, John Rahm unfortunately was not one of them with a final round 70, but it's one of those courses where it's almost like, okay, this is just a horse race for all intents and purposes. People were just making birdie after birdie after birdie. Eagles. I mean, obviously, Jonathan, you had pointed out even that Rory had a chance to win there until he unfortunately dropped it into the drink on 15, I believe. But this is one of those times when the question always pops up. It's not even really a question. I think everyone enjoyed the excitement around this tournament. I don't think scoring that low was an issue here. Does anyone disagree?
I think that's more so what people want to see. I think they
Yeah.
set it up for nobody wants to go watch 1-200 golf at the Olympics. They want to see birdies, eagles, great shots. I think it was set up fine. I don't think it was too easy for these guys. I mean, they're all playing the same course, and these are all fans that they paid to be there, but it made it more exciting, I think.
You also think about at the Olympic level, people aren't as into the knowledge of where players are at each stage as much. They have a much more pulled back view of golf. And so the storylines and for lack of a better term, the characters that are presented, I think make it much more compelling. And to go there, I think Bryson probably would have drawn in a larger crowd or a larger viewership. I think he would bring in more eyes in LA for sure, because people at least know of Bryson. They know who Bryson is, whether or not they know of the live controversy. They know of his standings throughout the season. They know, all that stuff. They at least know the name. It's similar with gymnastics. If you don't follow gymnastics throughout the season, you may not know that Suni went to Auburn, that she had a kidney disease, that she, all of those things, but you at least know the name of Suni because of last year's gymnastics. So it's like those kind of things.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great addition to the Olympic Games, at least, and it has been for the last few Olympiads. The year that Scottie Scheffler is having, if we want to touch on that briefly, and I wrote an opinion piece again on golfunfiltered.com to talk about where Scottie Scheffler's 2024 ranks among the all-time best seasons in men's pro golf. I don't know how you guys feel. I feel like we're kind of witnessing one of the top 10 ever as it's happening, because it's not done yet. He still has the opportunity to win the FedEx Cup as well as the Tour Championship and all that fun stuff. But where do you land on this? Is this something truly historic, or is this just a really great year? Dan, we'll start with you. How you feel about this?
It's historic. I know we were joking, hey, Tiger's never won an Olympic gold medal, or any medal for that matter. So, listen, I think off the course has made it is as historic as on the courses for Scottie. Scottie's in a really unique position this year, and that, he's utterly dominated on the golf course this year. And despite the fact that for the first half of the year he couldn't putt. Also, I hope he's given Rory some. I guess Rory doesn't need the money, but I hope he's given Rory a nice gift basket or something for saying on national TV to change his putter, and then he changed his putter and he basically hasn't lost since. But besides the point, but I think the craziest part is the most impressive thing he did this year wasn't in a win. Like I know people are not going to want to talk about it, but the fact that he was sitting in a jail cell warming up for a golf for the second round of a major, and then shot a 66. Literally, he left the jail, got taken to the golf course, had no time to warm up, stretch, hit balls, eat anything, just walks to the first tee and shoots a 66. I mean, that in of itself, had he never won anything the whole year, his year would have been historic just from that round alone. But then you add everything else he's done on top of that. It is a truly historic, one of a kind. We've never seen a year like this year from Scottie Scheffler. And like you mentioned, it's not even over yet. He can still win at Eastlake and win the FedEx Cup on top of everything else he's done.
Trevor, where are you at with all this? Are you in agreement?
Yeah. I mean, just no notes to anything you guys said. But it's awesome. Time will tell where it stacks up historically. But it's not crazy to put it in the top 10 golf seasons of all time, I don't think. I mean, how long did Scottie go without shooting in the 70s? You know, like he was on a crazy streak where unbelievable.
Almost Byron Nelson-esque at one point. Byron Nelson had 19 in a row.
It was that third round to PGA, wasn't it? And ironically enough, he didn't have Ted Scott on the bag with him that day.
So if he doesn't, let me pose this question. If he doesn't win in Atlanta, if he doesn't actually win the tour championship, does that almost like blue balls his season? Like this, I mean,
that was exactly what I was thinking.
I mean, it doesn't.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
The man still
I think because
times, you know,
right? Yeah,
there's still
because he hasn't done anything that would lead you to believe he's not going to be in the final 2 or 3 groups.
Not only that, but
right,
whoever lifts the trophy at least East Lake, you know what they can't take a picture of? They can't take a picture of themselves wearing an Olympic gold medal while wearing the green jacket. Only Scottie Scheffler can take that photo, and so therefore, no matter what happens, I think he's won already.
That's true.
I mean, if Scottie wants to win, do they still do the PIP? They do, right? If he posts a picture, orange jumpsuit, gold medal, green jacket, that wins it, right?
It's over. It's over.
Yeah.
He got to keep the suit, the jumpsuit.
I mean,
you got to give it back. You know,
look, I had to go to party.
You've earned this, sir. Here you go.
I had to go to Party City yesterday. You can go pick one up for like $20. So,
or he could just wear one of our Scottie Slam shirts underneath the green jacket.
That's right. Attaboy, Dan.
And he's got it all
done. So Nikki and Jonathan too. I mean, so to your point, I don't know if it takes it away from it. So what's interesting is when I was looking at the best, quote unquote, best seasons of careers, it was always multiple majors. Obviously, Scottie with the one major, but do we lump or do we include the Olympic gold medal as a major? I think we do. This is an interesting time because it's almost getting more difficult to compare historical great seasons to modern day because they're so different. I mean, I don't know, Nikki, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, the Olympics is once every 4 years. It's hard to, I mean, yeah, somebody could go and win 2 majors in a season, but once every 4 years to win a gold medal and do all the things that Scottie did, like Scottie could do all those same things next season, but like to have the chance to win a gold medal on top of that only happens once every 4 years. So it's the fact that all aligned at the same time is crazy.
Yeah. One
thing I'll say, Adam, and I'm not knocking him at all here, but you did bring up an interesting point as far as comparing past to present. He does have a decent number of wins this year at limited field events. Those obviously weren't something that existed even back in the early Tiger days. He had the WGCs were a thing, but not. There were 4 WGCs a year. Now there are like 4 limited field events in a 6-week period. So you do have to consider the number of guys he beat in those. But at the same time, and I'm not knocking it, you still have to win. I don't care if you're playing 3 against 3 guys or 300 guys. You still have to beat everybody else. So it's not necessarily a knock on him, but it is one thing that is tough to equally compare because those guys didn't have as many or even any of those limited field events, depending on the time window.
And it's not like 1974 Gary Player when, and he's not arguing about trees or about his sons ripping him off. It's when he was playing against just low level tournament fields and he won 10 times. But Jonathan, what were you going to say?
So here's a question, I'll put it out there. I'm a huge Scottie fan. I definitely think this season is top 10, but here's another perspective. I mean, just a week ago, Xander coming off of another major. And everybody was ready to deem, hey, is Xander the player of the year? It was like, well, he's got 2 majors. He finished top 10 in the other 2. He's the lowest score to par out of even after Scottie and all the majors. Like it was Scottie in the back seat. And now let's just say, what if Xander won that gold medal? Where does that is Scottie? Is this season still up there? Or is Schauffele now in that conversation? Is he now the player of the year? Just from a gold medal perspective, which is not even, I mean, sure, it's an Olympic event, not to take that away. The field was great, but let's say Xander wins. Where does that put Scottie's season? You know, is it not as good now, or is it? I mean, you still won 6 times. You've got a major. I mean,
personally, I think, yeah, if Xander would have pulled it off, I think it would have been no question with the 2 majors plus the gold medal. I mean, I think he becomes top of the year, in my opinion, Scottie becoming second. I don't know, guys, do you feel that it differs at all with that?
I mean, either way, whoever won that gold medal was going to be.
That's kind of what I thought. Whoever was going to
considered
come out on top, like if you win the gold, like you pretty much cemented it.
What if, okay, but we're all assuming that, like, I mean, obviously Scottie did win the gold medal, but like we're all assuming that Xander would have been the gold medalist. Like, but like what happens if it's like, you know, okay, well, he won a bronze medal. It's like, to me, it's like 2 majors and a bronze. Like, it's got to be gold. Like, it's to me, I don't know why.
What a loser.
I don't know why. I don't know why in my head it does that, but like, at least for that conversation, like, 2 majors and a bronze, 2 majors and a silver, 2 majors and a gold, maybe. But like, I don't know. That's
a good point. That's a good point, though. I mean, Tommy Fleetwood with the silver, Hideki with the bronze, still incredible. I mean, Tommy afterwards said, "I am tickled pink to win this thing." He was extreme. Well, he should be. So that's a great point. I don't know.
Nobody remembers who comes in second. Yes, nobody.
Unless you're Louis Tyson.
Nobody remembers those guys. You know.
I was gonna say, can anybody name who won silver in either Tokyo or Rio, or Tokyo or in Brazil? I mean, we know that.
Was it Rory Sabatini?
Oh, that's right.
Was
Henrik?
Henrik was in.
I mean, we know who won gold.
In Rio. It was Justin Rose, Henrik Stenson, and Matt Kuchar in Rio. And then Tokyo was Xander and Rory Sabatini, and I don't remember.
Yeah, huge heavyweight Rory Sabatini, you know?
Yeah, the man who changed nationalities for a silver medal.
The boy from Bratislava.
That's
the boy
right.
from Bratislava.
That's
Rory
right.
Sabatini.
I shouldn't say that. He didn't change nationalities, but
I'll put this out there. So I found out recently that since my great-grandparents were Italian citizens, I can also become an Italian citizen. So if you ever find me in the Olympics for golf, I don't think I can make it through the USA path. So I'll have to just all of a sudden be, Italian. So I just want to let you guys know. Keep an eye out for that.
I appreciate your undying commitment. Yeah. Your undying commitment, Trevor, to get either at the AT&T Pro-Am, to get onto the Olympic team now. What was the other one that you were going to try to shoot for?
Oh, I could be Ryder Cup captain. I could do for sure. I mean, they just called Keegan out of the blue. I'm right. Here.
Trevor, hear me out. Trevor, hear me out. Italian curling team. Do it.
Wait, hang on. If you changed your nationality to Italian, you could also team Europe for Ryder Cup too.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I don't know if I could do that. That would be tough.
Throw it out there as an option for you. You know.
Yeah. We'll see.
Love it.
A lot of options.
If you want to be a trader, then that's fine. But
oh wow,
that's fine. Trevor can go be the European Ryder Cup captain, but in exchange for that, we'll take Rory on the American side.
Hey, who says no? Which side says no?
Rory's lived here longer than he's lived in Ireland by this point in his life. I mean, I don't have any math to prove that, but I feel like he's lived in Florida longer than he lived over there. So yeah.
Middle Tennessee State alum Rory McIlroy.
That's right.
Is that where
That's
he's
right.
supposedly going to go to college?
That's right. Yeah, actually. And by the way, folks, Olympic golf is not over yet. We still have the women's competition coming up here Wednesday early morning for us. It's like 2 a.m. Eastern, I think is what I saw. But Nelly Korda going for back-to-back gold medals. I mean, talk about another name that we've been comparing to Scottie Scheffler all along, or vice versa. She locks that down. I mean, I think the conversation's over.
Historically great season.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's going to be insane. She's joined by Lilia Vu as well as Rose Zhang, 2 names that, of course, we've seen throughout the year on top of leaderboards. I love Rose Zhang. She's just so much fun to watch on a golf course, but I think everyone's going to be rooting for Nelly, of course, here stateside. Dan, I think she's still at plus 145 is the last that I saw when I looked, just for educational and research purposes only.
Meanwhile, can we talk about the fact that you bring this up? I forgot to mention this earlier. None of us were paying any attention to Scottie yesterday. Apparently, neither were the books, because I saw
Plus 400.
you mentioned at one point it was plus 400. So even the books, I guess, gave up on remembering that Scottie was playing, because that's
They said he was plus 6,000 at the turn.
Was he really?
Yeah, I saw that in certain books. He was, yeah. So I mean, clearly even the books gave up on him. Which,
Jonathan,
once again,
I know you've
never
got
give
my
up.
phone number.
I didn't see this. I didn't see this till later, but I was just like, wow. That's still tough. I mean, you're 5 strokes back. You know, that's. I mean, Rahm was still playing well at the time, and it was,
he was. Yes, he was. Man. We got
Rahm explosion though. It's great.
Same. John Rahm, not only a fad, also a phase. But he did have that Legion 13 win the other day, and he got teary-eyed, so good for him. All right. Well,
yesterday was now that the women are starting and there was so much confusion around golf and the format of it, and was it going to be match play? Was it going to be, how does it work out and stuff? Was especially now that they have started to do like mixed relays and events and things like swimming and track and stuff. Golf would also be the perfect place to introduce like a mixed event. And you put somebody like Nelly and Scottie out together, like it's done. It's
perfect for the Americans.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's perfect for the other countries.
Yeah,
that's why they're not doing it. I don't know, but like we talked about for the longest time, is how do they introduce these, mixed team events or these like mixed gender events into golf better than just the match.
Right.
The Olympics seems like a very good place to introduce that.
Dare I say they steal a little something from Liv and add a team aspect to this? Like those guys play individually and then they get a team trophy as well.
That would be cool.
I mean,
but you know what though? They could have easily done that for the men, and they can do it for the women too, without even having to do anything other than simple math. Okay, there were 4 Americans. Add up their 4 scores. What did it equal for each country? And they could have given out country gold, silver, and bronze in addition to the individual, without even anybody having to change the format, play any additional holes. Just take everybody
individually compete in your total score.
Yeah, you probably have to
golf all around.
Americans, just because not every country.
Well, yeah, okay, so you do 2 or however many. Yeah, if everyone, but still whatever. And then if there was a team playoff from the standpoint, or if there was a tie for the nationality side, then you could do it match play style, where one-on-one, or figure out a tiebreaker format, whatever. Each side picks their one guy they want to go to do a traditional playoff, but you wouldn't even really have to add a second element. Yeah, you could just add up everyone's scores, and like Nikki said, like in gymnastics, and just give an individual medals and country medals.
Yeah, definitely. I think they should dismount at the end too and do a pose for the end of the final putt on 18.
Simone literally today on the beam got deductions for her salute for not being long enough, and which is why on her floor routine she was petty and she held that salute for all of like 45 seconds, which I applaud her for. It's great.
Simone's a badass. And well, so we went there. Let's go there. And Nikki, this is going to be the Nikki time to talk about gymnastics. Listen, early in the morning, Mrs. GU's waking up, watching on her phone in bed, giving me updates. I heard a gasp this morning related to Suni Lee, and then another with Simone. Gymnastics is done, right? It's completed. No further apparatuses need to be done. Overall thoughts on Simone, Suni, everyone?
I mean, just proud of how far they've come, and especially from where they were, and with everything the Caroli days behind them, the Larry Nassar trial behind them, and the fact that they can now move forward and be kind of the future of USA gymnastics is exciting. And they had Simone to kind of lead them there, and that was a lot of pressure on her, but you can tell that she took pride in being the leader of that. And I think they all deserve a chance to relax and rest now, especially Suni. I don't think we will see her again. I think that she's probably done, which she probably should be, but I think it was good that she was able to make it here and like achieve those goals and kind of, you know, mark off those things on her checklist. And I hated it that her final event, you know, ended the way that it did, but you could tell that she was still proud of everything else that she did accomplish. So
they had asked Simone Biles at the end, you know, LA 4 years question mark. She'll be 31. She said, I don't know, I'm getting kind of old, but she didn't rule it out. Do you expect to see her again?
And then she tweeted an hour after that, they need to stop asking these gymnasts if they're returning immediately after they medal. Y'all need to quit that. So I think I don't know. I don't know if she has decided or not. I don't think that she needs to decide right now. Like you said, she's 31. If she does come back, I could see her being just a specialist, trying to, like, you know, do kind of what they put the pommel horse guy out there for. You know, yeah, he's on the team, but he's going to be out there just for she's going to be out there just for the vault or just for the floor, you know, not try to make her go do bars.
Right. For sure.
It was interesting that she said that about, like, you need to stop asking, but, like, that's what we do in this country. Look at every other sport, like the aging football player. When is it going to be his last one after he won a Super Bowl? Are you going to come back? Like, they ask him that in basketball and baseball. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying that, like, I think that we should probably stop asking that question across the board. But at the same time, if we're going to ask it of our other athletes, then why not ask it of our Olympic athletes as well?
That's true. I also find it very funny, though, that they're like, oh man, you know, she's going to be 31. Can she do it? Oh, it's going to be so rough. She's going to be ancient. You know, even Ledecky, they're like, she's going to be, she's 27. She's barely getting into this swimming pool by herself.
But in gymnastics years, 31, you might as well be 90, though. I mean, they start when they're like 12, 13. So if it'd be 31, I mean, you might as well be needing to walk out there with a walker at that point.
It used to be when you were 18, you were considered extremely old for gymnastics. Like, you know, because it was once you went to college, you didn't come back. So they're already very old for what used to be elite gymnastics. But yeah, it's just funny to me that, like, that is considered a decrepit age.
Back in the Roman times, I remember on a tour we were walking, they said the elders were in their 30s. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
They didn't make it past 30s. Like, good. All right.
Maybe that's why they do feel that way about the Olympics.
We've come a long way.
For all of you out there that are, like, laughing because she may be 31 and is she too old, just for all you out there laughing at that, I won't speak for anyone else, but I'm guessing Adam and Trevor feel the same way as I do. It's like when we're watching, like, these, you know, NFL players, and it's like, oh, he's 29 or whatever, and is he going to retire in a year or two? And I'm like, bro, I could have, like, birthed you, like, and we're talking about how you're already at retirement age. So welcome to the club of everyone else out there, I guess.
Trevor Dan just called us old.
What kills me is when they're like, LeBron and I share. We have our birthdays are like a week apart. We're about the same age. He's a year older than I am, but I'm like, stop talking about that. Like, he's almost dead. Like, and it's unbelievable what he's doing. Yes, it's unbelievable what he's doing, but he's not dead. You know, like,
I'm not dead.
He's got most of his life in front of him.
I felt that same way towards the end with Tebow when he was trying to catch on a baseball, and they're like, he's too old to be now changing sports. Like, Tebow, I didn't go to UF, but Tebow and I were in college at the exact same time. We're the same age, and like, they're talking about how he's like an old man trying to play baseball. I'm like, bro, like, stop saying that. Like, I'm not playing baseball, but also, like, I'm not old. Like, I mean.
Nikki, I've got a question. Since you're our in-house gymnastics expert here, what happened with Jordan Childs with the inquiry? Like, what happened?
Yes. Okay. So you can inquire about your score, not the execution. The execution is judges, they give you what they give you, but you can inquire about the start value. If the judges give you, like, because you know what your start value should be based on the skills that you have in your routine. If the judges give you a start value that is lower than what you know your start value should be, you can inquire about that and say, hey, wait, hang on a second. It was supposed to be this. Like, what did you see? Like, did you not see me do these two skills together? And so they can inquire about it. And sometimes they'll come back and say, well, you actually technically didn't connect these two skills. And they'll go, okay, well, fine. But most of the time it's, oh, okay, I see. Yes, this was a skill and this is a skill. Like, it's just because it's so live. And there was actually 3 other gymnasts that had inquired about their score. I think 2 on the beam earlier and then 1 on the floor that day as well. And so she inquired about it. And after they looked at it and said, "Yep, you're right. It was supposed to be this." It got bumped up. And so if you go back and look at what her start value was on floor the past 2 times, it actually like was where it was after she inquired. So people are upset, but
that's just the way it goes. Yeah, it is what it is. She ended up winning bronze because of it. So good for her on doing that. And wow, it's been an exciting Olympics. Obviously, we've got a few more days left of competition. Track and field is already, or athletics, I think is what they call it now, is hot and heavy. Dan, what you got?
Noah Lyles yesterday. I was saying we're going to talk about how the guy from Jamaica had his foot across, but in running, it doesn't matter where your feet are; it matters where the rest of your body is.
Yep. Was it clavicle? The torso was what they called.
Torso. Yeah. I think there were a lot of people out there yesterday that thought they knew the rules of track and field, and then found out yesterday in real time that they had no idea about the actual rules when it came to the sprint races of track and field.
Your head first?
It's torso.
Torso
first. That's why they all do. That's why. What's his name? I'm drawing a blank on him from Jamaica.
Usain Bolt.
That's why he was so good, because his torso, was so long or whatever that he could get the extra like jump on people at the end by just like extending his body out essentially. But I thought that was that
3 body lengths ahead of everyone else.
He could just lay down from the start, right? And then he wins.
But that still image of the guy from Jamaica with his foot across the line while Lyles' body was going across the line. I think that is going to be a still image that will be an iconic moment of history for a long time, because the guy whose foot crossed the line first did not actually win the gold medal.
Monumental botch by the announcing crew, by the way. They were
yes.
I don't know.
Lay out there, guy, until you know who actually won.
Said Jamaica won, and then Noah Lyles knew that he had won, and they didn't say anything for like a minute or two.
Did you see? So I guess Michael Johnson, the sprinter from years ago, was doing it for the BBC. Different than the BBL, but BBC. He saw the preview, the replay, and he was. There was like no audio for him, but you could tell. Oh, it's Noah. It's Noah. He was saying. So it's just incredible. To your point, how bad they botched that particular thing. Not Michael Johnson, but the other announcers on the main feed. Crazy. All right. Well, we covered a lot of ground here today, folks. Be sure to go ahead and follow all of us over at Golf Unfiltered here on social media. You can also follow us individually by our handles on the screen here for those of you watching YouTube. Anything to leave our listeners and viewers with, folks? Anything at all?
We got a
Nikki,
total medal. We got a total medal count if you want one. US is leading with 76 total medals ahead of China with 52.
Awesome. Red, white, and blue. These colors don't run.
For those who may not have seen it on GU's website, maybe Nikki, a quick update as far as where we are in the FedEx Cup standings, because we're heading into the last week of the regular season here. So
yes, I don't have my fancy graphics done yet this time. So you way to call me out.
We've been busy.
No, that's all right. I just meant like, hey, here's where we're at. Like,
okay, so yes, so currently, obviously, the Olympics don't count towards FedEx Cup ranking, so nobody got any points this week. But the top 5 are still the same. They haven't really moved. Is Scottie, Xander, Rory, Colin, and Wyndham Clark, who honestly, I feel like he should get points taken away from him after the way he performed at the Olympics. My God. Like, I mean, truthfully.
And now he's got his own championship this week.
He made himself, but he bumped up to
top 12, I think.
Yeah, which was surprising. But like, I don't know. I think, truthfully, I think Bryson would have probably played a little bit better. But and then right now, you have Luke List is out of it. He's fighting for a spot. You've got Victor Perez, who we saw this week, performing very well in the Olympics. He's 1 out of the spot. We've got Atlanta Drive Golf Club's own Lucas Glover just out of the current top 70. So
good old sweaty Lucas.
Yeah.
There's an Atlanta connection.
Man, that guy.
And Kashmir Keith is also just outside. And Hogard as well. All of them have also just committed to playing in the Wyndham Championship. So looking to get a few more points. Another name that is just on the just on the line, or pretty close to it. Jordan Spieth is sitting at 63, and Manu Lee is sitting at 62. So they're close. They're in right now, but they're very close. Should other points kind of shift them around a little bit. So they also both just signed up and committed to playing in the Wyndham Championship next weekend. So I'm sure they're hoping to get a few more points because this is the last time that there's points up for grabs before the playoffs actually start. So
who needs heroin when you're a fan of Jordan Spieth? That man just goes up and down like crazy. He's like playoff hockey personified. I miss 2015 Jordan Spieth. That's all I got to say.
Long time ago.
I just got sad.
I got sad thinking about the fact that's almost 10 years ago at this point.
Oh God, don't even remind me. I turned 42 at the weekend, and I'm not happy about it. And these years have gone by. I'm gonna let these guys go, and I'm just gonna talk for an hour on my own little personal therapy session.
Hey, do
anyway,
you guys know? Do we have anyone that follows the podcast that's high up in the South Korean government? Because please don't ruin Tom Kim's career.
He's got till he's 28. All right, he's got till he's 28.
That's in his prime. Let the boy play golf. Like,
did you see him though? He was
real
sad.
He was so hard in that.
Yeah, I guess because he was just so close to then
close.
I've got to wait 4 years for this event.
I love NBC,
what is he, 20, 21, 22?
I love NBC, but they have shown a lot of people crying the past 2 weeks that I did not want to see cry. They show Caleb Dressel crying a lot after losing.
Hopefully they let pros compete in the Asian games because then Tom Kim will get a shot, I think, next year.
They said they made a list. I read a list of the things he has to win to the Asia Pacific Games, a major or a medal. So
yeah, man, that's rough. I don't know. I just maybe if there is anyone
maybe somebody at that South Korean podcast can also get Trevor into the pro AT&T Pro-Am too. We can kill two birds with one stone.
Hey, listen, you might have to make a deal for mandatory military service if we do that. I don't want to. I don't want to lose you, Trevor.
I might be out on that, but yeah, I'll swap out for Larry the Cable Guy anytime at the AT&T Pro-Am.
Make it happen, folks out there.
All right, folks. Well, I think we've done enough today. Thanks on behalf of Nikki, Jonathan, Dan, and Trevor. Be sure to follow us all over on social media, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel and all the other cool things. We'll talk again soon.